Glove save, knocked down, loose puck, they score! Here comes Johnny Walker, and on a break, Deeks score!
Cutting towards the middle, turning with on a shot and a goal!
Hi Sun Devil fans, and welcome to another edition of Hell Frozen Over. Little new edition this year, a little look and feel. We're here at College Bar Tempe, right here on the campus of Arizona State University with a mountain in the background. And this year's Coach Power show, we have Tyler Bush, co-captain of Arizona State University's hockey team, joining us today. Tyler, tell me a little bit about your off-season, how'd it go, and any special events you did this off-season?
It went good for the most part. I just got to go home back to Alberta and spend a couple months with my family and friends, and got some training in and work with my skills coaches, and yeah, for the most part, just relaxed and trained for this season. And 2 months went by pretty quick, and I was ready to get back. So good to be back, and excited to keep this season going.
And you're entering year 3 now with the Sun Devils, and looking back, you're in this back half of your collegiate career. Looking back now, how fast has it flown by? What are some things you really remember, and what are some things you're maybe looking forward to?
Yeah, first off, it's went by pretty quick. It's crazy to think that I'm already over halfway done my college career, and yeah, it's been a lot of good memories so far, and just to see how the program has evolved just over the 2 years has been pretty cool. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to come here, is just to be a part of that class that helped build the program. And I think everyone's starting to see that we're improving every year, and we're really starting to build a solid foundation. So like I said, it's went by pretty quick, but pretty excited for my last 2 years.
And obviously a big piece of that growth and building that tradition, obviously, and Coach Powers is obviously seeing that as you are donning the C this year as a co-captain. Talk a little bit about that and what that means to you to be able to represent this program entering its 4th season.
Yeah, it's a big honor to be recognized like that by my coaches and my teammates. So, but at the same time, you have some little responsibilities that come with it, but at the same time, it's just you got to keep doing what you're doing, and it doesn't make me any more important than anyone else in the room. And we have a solid leadership group that goes beyond just guys that wear letters. And I think that this year we've had from the start we had guys come in and show big leadership qualities, and I think that's part of our success this year, is just going to be that our ability to lead, and our core group that's a little bit older now has done a really good job of just settling in the freshmen and kind of leading by example.
You talk a little bit about the veteran group that you're a part of, and now this year you have a pretty solid mix of 3 full recruiting classes now coming in, a really good freshman class, a sophomore class last year, both top 20 ranked in the country. Talk a little bit about that mix of youth and a little bit of mix of those veteran leaders like yourself and Brinson.
Yeah, I think this is probably the first year that we've had a pretty good amount of depth. So as far as our freshman class this year, they're extremely talented, and they're eager to learn, and I think they've shown that from the minute they stepped on campus. So I think even look at this weekend, we had a few guys chip in offensively, and not giving up a goal in 2 games. Obviously they're pretty good in their own end too, and pretty responsible defensively. So can't say enough about our young guys, and I guess that has to attribute to our older guys too. They've done a good job of like I said, leading the way, and setting the foundation, and kind of getting the culture going. And yeah, really deep team this year, and excited to keep it going.
And with some of those young guys, as somebody that's been here 3 years, and have these young guys that come here, and maybe from smaller towns where they play junior hockey, or maybe their hometown's really small, but then they come here and they're not only having to play hockey, but they're a student athlete. They're having to kind of adjust to that, manage their time, things like that. And obviously in a much bigger city like Phoenix, like Tempe. Talk a little bit about maybe the advice maybe you bestow upon them and give them as they arrive here as freshmen.
Well, it's nice because I went through it too as a freshman. I come from a smaller city in Alberta, and completely different than here. So I kind of went through it, and there's little things that you have to kind of adjust to your lifestyle, and the main thing I think is just managing time, like you said, is making sure you get all your schoolwork done and leave enough time to rest and take care of your body and be ready to go every day for practice. So I think our guys have done a great job of learning how to manage their time and really take care of themselves.
And some of these freshmen, are used to playing a lot of games in a season, whether it's in junior hockey or wherever it might be, before they arrive here. But you're used to the brutality of the schedules that we've had here over the last few years. Really tough schedules last year, ranked 24th in the country, the schedule we played. Now you go into this year with another top elite schedule, 18 of 34 games against ranked teams in the top 20. What's kind of got to be the mindset when you go into each one of these games as maybe the underdog and you're playing these teams that are ranked and maybe have some rich history? What's kind of the mindset you have to go in with, and maybe that you express to these freshmen who obviously can play at this level but maybe have to get in the right mindset before they go into these games?
Well, I think it's important to just treat every weekend the same, whether it's a top-ranked team or maybe a team with not as good of a record. Especially with the amount of games we play, every night's super important, and it's so competitive, and I think the margin for error is so small that it doesn't take much to separate the good teams from the bad teams, and we've played basically the toughest competition we can through the past 2 years, so I think it makes it more competitive and it makes it more fun, and if you're going to want to be one of those top programs, you're going to have to learn to beat them and what it takes to win those tough games. So, like I said, really excited for this year with the schedule we have.
And you obviously get started off this weekend. The Devils taking on number 1 Ohio State this weekend at home. As you go into this game, you're one of the few guys that was a part of that roster 2 years ago that went to Columbus, tied them in that second game 2-2, ended up winning in the overtime in the shootout. Going into this series, what's kind of maybe the memories that you have from that last series, and what's kind of got to be the mindset for you guys to go in, play your kind of hockey, and what's it going to take to be able to pull the upset?
Just looking back at a couple years ago, that was probably one of the most memorable college games I've ever played in, and I learned a lot that weekend, and I think we did as a group too. We kind of took the first night off, and we kind of just tried to ease into it, and there was a bit of a feeling out process in that first game, and we didn't end up on the right side of the scoreboard. So looking back at it, I think if we can take anything from those 2 games, I think it's just that we can't just feel it out the first night. I think we gotta know that we can play with them and come out that first night and really compete hard, and it's tough to, like I said, it's tough to win in this league, and like I said again, no matter who you're playing, you got to treat every game the same. So we're preparing for Friday to come out and get 2 points.
And you obviously in that game, that second game, scored that game-tying goal to force overtime there really late with with extra man on the ice and empty net at your back. Talk a little bit about that feeling, and was that what made it so special of a game for you?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest goals I would say I've ever scored. So, yeah, looking back at it, that was a cool moment for our group. But again, we ended up that weekend with a loss and a tie. So we're looking for way better things out of this weekend. And like I said, we just gotta treat every game the same and come out and look for a win Friday night, and then we can worry about Saturday.
All right, so the Sun Devils Friday, Saturday night at Oceanside Ice Arena, 7:05 puck drop. Limited tickets are available. From my understanding, a little bit of standing room only. So get your tickets while you can for a Friday and Saturday night. Tyler, thanks for joining us. Best of luck this weekend. All right, we're back with head coach Greg Powers. Coach, tell me a little bit about your off season. I don't know, you don't really have much of an off season, but talk a little bit about in between games, start to finish, kind of what your summer looked like, so to speak.
So I tell everybody, summer. Do you want me to grab this? Okay. Summer's more hectic than in season for most college coaches, because in season, we're with our team, we have a routine, we know when we're going to practice, we know when we're going to travel, we know when we're going to play. But the off season is really hectic. You have recruiting, you have fundraising, you have all the other responsibilities that come with the job. So it was hectic, but it's fun, and beats working.
Speaking of recruiting, obviously bringing another top 20 recruiting class this year with this year's freshmen. Talk a little bit about this class and how some people don't realize that this class you were recruiting about the time this program started with some of these kids, and some of these kids committed way back when the announcement came that we were moving to Division I. So how is it to kind of see all that work back then initially kind of come to fruition with these guys here now?
It's been really cool, and that's what's different about this class as opposed to any other one. And the other classes we had to go grab. We had to go grab either kids like Tyler that decommitted from somewhere, or all the other guys that just slipped through the cracks, so to speak. These kids have been committed to us for up to 3 years. So they made a decision a long time ago when we announced we were going to go Division I, that they wanted to be a part of this build and what we were doing here at Arizona State. Hockey players are recruited very young. That's what a lot of people don't know. There's kids that are on this team that committed, like Demetrius, when he was 15 years old. So they've been unofficially a part of our program now for up to 3 years, helping us, not helping us, but essentially from afar, being a part of our culture, and our entire staff staying in touch with these kids and communicating with them through their development and making sure they're getting what they needed, so when they came in, they could contribute like they did this weekend. And it's been a different feel. And every class now that we have coming in after them will be the exact same way. And they've really done a great job of being leadable. Guys like Tyler Bush and our veteran leadership that took a chance to come here when we were unestablished. And built this foundation. These freshmen really respect what they've done, and they're doing a great job.
And those freshmen, obviously, with a huge first weekend, 4 of the 6 freshmen scoring a point this weekend, 12 players overall tallying some type of point, goal, or assist this weekend. Talk a little about this historic opening weekend, starting off hot, starting off 2-0, getting that first home sweep, and getting off to the start you'd like to see.
It was a great weekend. Obviously, from the net out, Joey was solid. I think he'll be the first to tell you it was probably the easiest weekend he's had. I mean, I think he had 13 shots on Saturday and 23 or 24 on Sunday, and then 23 or 24 on Saturday. So it was the lowest shot total we've given up since becoming a Division I program. So that's a good sign. Our guys are buying into what we need to do defensively, and great hockey teams win and build from their net out, and that's what we're going to continue to try and do. And we have a big test coming in this weekend, so we'll see if we can keep it up.
Speaking of Joey gets his 3rd career assist this last weekend. Ended up being a top 5 play for USCHO amongst college hockey. You as a goalie, how hard is that type of play? I mean, he likes to play the puck. He likes to keep his eyes up and down ice. What makes him so special? Is that what makes him special?
Joey's world class. I would put Joey in his puck playing ability against any goalie literally in the world. He's that good at it. And back when I played, I wasn't half as good as Joey, but I love to play the puck. And I hated when coaches try to confine what I wanted to do. So I've never once told Joey, stop playing the puck. He's an extra defenseman out there. He's a weapon, and 98% of the time, something good's going to happen from him doing what he does, and we'll take the bad with the good. The bad's very, very marginal. He like I said, when you have somebody that can do something world class like he can, just get out of his way and let him do it.
And he's obviously going to have a tough test this weekend with number 1 Ohio State coming in, as we've talked about. Ohio State returning 21 of their players from last year's Frozen Four run. Talk a little about their offense, what they do well, maybe things you're going to try to maybe expose or try to maybe find a way in between to try to kind of compete this weekend.
Well, they're going to be a handful. They're the number 1 ranked team in the country. They return literally everybody from an impact standpoint that went to the Frozen Four last year. And they're on a mission. They've made it clear. They're on a mission. A lot of those kids could have signed NHL deals, and they decided to all return so they could make another run at winning a national championship. And so they're going to come probably hard out of the gates in their first game against us. And they're going to be tough. It's They have a deep, well-balanced, incredibly well-constructed team that's a credit to their coaching staff. An incredibly skilled top six. It's going to be really hard to match up with a very, very good third line that would be most teams' second line and some teams' first line, and 6D that can play, and one of the best goalies in the country. So there's no holes. There's no holes. We're going to have to be disciplined, stay out of the box, and take away their time and space, and use our arena and our home ice advantage to our advantage, and that's what we intend to do. And our guys are going to go out there, have a bunch of fun, and compete and see what happens.
And looking ahead, obviously, this is that first game of that long, grueling, tough schedule that you have this year against a lot of top 20 opponents this season. Do you think this series will help prepare the guys and some of these freshmen to see, okay, this is what it's going to be like through the rest of the season? You know, maybe get their feet a little wet before you get going.
Yeah, I think it will. We have a great schedule, very diverse. We have teams like Ohio State, and then we go to Huntsville next weekend, who is unranked. So it's diverse. We're up, we're down, but for the most part, we challenge ourselves very well, and we have a young team to have the number one ranked team in the country come in to Tempe this early stage of our program. It's not only good for us, it's great for everybody in and around our program, everybody in and around hockey here in the Valley, to see the very, very best that college hockey has to offer. It's a different brand of hockey than the NHL. The NHL is the best in the world, but college hockey is different. And people that really follow college hockey and that know it, they understand how special it is, and how fast and furious and passionate these kids play the game. And we're expecting two very raucous, absolute crazy crowds this weekend, and can't wait to get going.
And speaking of that schedule, I know you've talked a little bit about this, but kind of the mindset that you have when building this schedule for not only this year but the last 2 years, and really trying to prepare these classes, and a class like Tyler Bush's and Brinson Pashnuk's for this next year, their senior year, when you have officially 4 recruiting classes in and ready to go. Can you talk a little bit about your mindset and the theory behind getting to where you are in the schedules the last few years?
Yeah, it's, we haven't shied away from anybody, and there's 2 schools of thought really when you're building a program. You can go out and try and schedule, the historically not successful programs and attempt to build a winning culture by getting some wins here or there, or you can play the best and see what it takes to beat the best. And that's what we've done. And I think when it's all said and done, by the time our first real full recruiting class, which are juniors right now, get through their senior year, people are going to see it will have paid off. Our guys now know that Bushy and Brinson and Gruber and this junior class, they've been through it all. They've had opportunities at home to sweep UMass. They had an opportunity to sweep Alabama Huntsville. They had an opportunity to sweep Colgate, RPI. We've had those opportunities, and we haven't closed teams out. And what people saw this weekend is from those past experiences, our guys know how to close teams out now. So it's all about growing. It's all about learning and development, and that's what these guys have gotten through a very, very difficult schedule, and nothing's going to intimidate them. So we're going to be ready come Friday.
And one of those tough sections of the schedule would be the return of the Desert Hockey Classic this year, which will be at Gila River Arena December 28th, 29th. That tournament, arguably one of the strongest fields in the country as far as tournament goes. The returning national champions, Minnesota Duluth, Clarkson, Minnesota State, both top 20 programs, which will be on the Pac-12 network as well, which was announced today, which will be exciting for our games. That tournament, the return of it, what can fans expect to see, and why should they be getting their tickets now and not waiting for the holiday season?
Well, we have the national champs coming in, and again, they're a team like Ohio State that returned the majority of their roster. So very, very good team. 2 other top 10 teams from last year, Clarkson and Minnesota State. So the field's tremendous. We're going to play those games out at Gila River. We expect nice crowds for those. They're in a good time of year in late January on a Friday and Saturday night. It's incredible college hockey at the very highest level, and you get to see teams not just ASU. And I think it's a great opportunity for everybody that loves the game to go out and support the game, and that's what we want. We want to be a pioneer here and lead to more growth in our game, and have more schools add hockey out west.
All right, well, that wraps up today's show. First opening episode of Hell Frozen Over. Coach, thanks for joining us as always, and looking forward to another great season here at College Bar Tempe. Thank you guys for hosting us. Excited for a great long season ahead. The next episode will be on Tuesday, October 23rd here at 5:30 p.m. Come on out, $2 tacos, lots of great specials here at College Bar Tempe. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.